Alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakat. Welcome to another episode of Iftar and Chill, where we talk about everything Ramadan. My name is Zohra Mula, and joining me today is Khadija.
Assalamu alaikum, viewers.
And our guest for the day, she is Farida Lo. She is a psychologist, and when she's not counseling people, she is going for hiking.
Assalamu alaikum, viewers. Wa alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam. Now, dear viewer, have you ever had that time where you just finished praying and you don't even remember how you got to the salam, how you got to the tashahud, okay? And it's like you're on autopilot. You're wondering whether you prayed or, you're just doing it for the sake of doing. We are diving into that topic today where we are asking ourselves, how can we practice mindfulness in the holy month of Ramadan?
Yes. Zuhra, today is a very interesting topic as well for Iftar and Chill, like mindfulness. Well, how do we put it even in Kiswahili? Kujitambua during the moment. Everything mindfulness, right?
Yeah.
And I'm glad we also have Farida in the set today, who is actually going to expound more about this.
Our G in this space,
I
psychology.
know. Yes.
Farida, tell us, what is mindfulness?
Thank you for inviting me. Mindfulness is a state of being conscious, being present, being at the moment in this here and now. English, Kiswahili, that's okay? Okay.
Okay. So when we say being present, being in the here and the now, there are people who argue, think about the future, yeah? Because we want to see ourselves as visionary people, but we can't get to that future. Kama sahizi, we're not there. Like, people don't feel your presence. Maybe can you give us an example of someone, anasema, I am being mindful. How does it look like?
It's a conscious state. You actually get to decide. Ideally, ukisema that you are going to be present, you're going to be mindful, you're consciously putting yourself in that state. Ya kuamua, from now on, I am focusing and solely wanting to now, kama unaangalia ni the future, if you want to be that visionary, at present where you are right now, I'm here in this studio with you guys.
Okay.
My future projection as a vision is that in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, I want to see myself climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, kwa mfano.
Okay.
If that's the vision I have, right now I can even focus. Nianze kuimagine that Mount Kilimanjaro, ninaipanda, and everything about planning, going, even being on that mountain, nikiwa hapa, in that space. So it's a futuristic vision thing niko now in mind, but I'm here focusing on that as my plan, but in my presence. Though mindfulness in a it falls under the umbrella of meditation.
Okay.
So the aspect of it being an aspect of meditation, it's meditating by being with yourself. Like, it's now intrusive, or it's internal reflections.
Okay.
So whether uta project now for the future, uta project for now, at least being present with yourself. Right now, umekaa, how are you feeling umekaa on that chair? How are you feeling holding the mic? How are you feeling now just listening to, the sounds outside, the lighting reflecting on you? The viewers at home, what are they thinking right now watching the program? Are they in movement, doing something as they are watching? But even in that space, ya kukua in movement, can I still be mindful? You may think yoga style, it's a form of meditation, pia ni mindfulness, but that calls for you to be still. The other aspect of mindfulness is that you can also be in motion, you can be in movement. So even while you're walking, you can be mindful. I'm walking, I'm taking the first step. So as I'm walking, I'm being present. I can feel the ground below my feet. I'm taking the first step. I'm breathing in as I'm walking. I can feel the air around. That's all presence.
Wow, Zuhra, did you feel that? Because I felt that. I felt like I'm in this state of mindfulness, and the yoga thing you also mentioned. So in a way, Farida, you'll tell us that it kind of also reduces that aspect ya kukua a bit stressed, uko na stress zako nini. So wewe mwenyewe tu kujikalia hapo, tuseme the viewers right now listening to you, they can actually get in that state when you tumesema actually ile reduce anxiety or whatever stress levels they have, right? That would be very nice.
And I think this is something that most of us lack. We're living in a very busy world. For example, unaingia kazi, unajua 9 mpaka 10 I have this, 10 mpaka hii time I have this. We're like doing this to just finish.
Okay.
We want to tick all the boxes. And even when we go into our houses, in our household, family setting, kila mtu ako kwa simu yake. Now, it even boils down to our swala. Wewe unaenda tu hapo ruku, sajda.
Just the actions.
What is usually the challenge? Tuna struggle kukua present, tuna struggle kukua in that moment. Ni nini inasababisha?
I think hatubaki in this state. Like for example, ni time for swala. I'm thinking ni time ya swala, then I need to put those other things on hold. If I'm praying because wacha ni checklist, I'm praying so that check nimemaliza swala, then it means you're not being mindful. You're just praying because una avoid dhambi, and then unakuwa like a businessman. Ndio ile hadithi inasema worship as a businessman. Because it's about checking that task that's been done. Yeah. At the end of the day, you actually miss out more when there is no mindfulness. Mindfulness is that sasa ni time as well. I think that in Islam, I don't know the reason, maybe tutauliza the sheikhs.
Okay.
But sometimes I always think the reason why we do wudu before swala, it's psychological preparation to get to that space. Because inaanzia that point of intention that I want to go pray nimesikia adhan, psychologically your mind inakuwa triggered to being more spiritual, more godly centered. So the moment tunaenda for that wudu, mindfulness can begin from there. Actually, it's supposed to, ideally would be supposed that ianzie pale. The moment you touch water, you feel the cold water.
Yes. When you're washing your hands.
Tuseme you decide, forgive me for saying usposema dua because I feel I will sound like very unreligious, but it's good usome dua. It's very helpful. There's a reason why kuna dua, not to ignore the places of dua. I'm just saying sometimes because you can be so distracted, not a dua usome because you're in a rush, because you're getting late. To bring your mind there consciously, is it possible to take that water, unatawadha as you're holding the water, and you're being mindful, maji ni baridi. I'm feeling the coolness of the water. As I'm washing my hand, I'm getting ready for that swala. If I'm going to wipe my face, I'm thinking, how does this water feel on my face? It's actually so cool on my face.
Listen to how it's trickling on the face.
You give it that attention. That's trickling, that's mindfulness.
Wow. Dear, did you hear that? Are you feeling mindful? Because we are.
I'm telling you, we've started off on a very good note.
Wow, mashallah.
Mashallah. And on that note, by the way, Sister Farida, you've mentioned about ticking boxes. You know, there's a person I actually met some time ago. We also discussing about just touching about mindfulness with all this meditation and all that, being present in the moment. And then I think I'd categorize them as workaholics. They'd tell me, you know, with being mindfulness as ingine inahitaji kama uko na wakati. Because ukikuwa na a very busy day, you need to be productive. I don't think productivity actually falls in the bracket ama in the space of mindfulness. You need to have your own time. So you need to be just in that autopilot mode. I know it's a negative thing, but autopilot also helps in being productive. Mindfulness comes as a luxury. What do you think about that? It being a luxury.
It's a very apt question. Actually, it's a very good question because usually people have the assumption that you don't have the time for things. Like it takes time. 2 minutes out of 24 hours. No, we work 8 hours. 2 minutes out of the 8 hours. Forget 8 hours. In between that workload, because work cannot be like a robot. Unafanya one thing for 3 consecutive hours. There'll be shift in terms of either you go to the washroom, changing the task you're doing, or getting up to get whatever it means for you to. Like for example, ukienda washroom, hutasema because I need to meet a deadline at a washroom, I will not go. You go to that washroom. Can you dedicate 2 minutes? Because 1 minute would be getting yourself set up and ready. Another minute for that. 2 minutes from that time. In fact, when you include mindfulness, when you include meditation in that heavy workload, you become more productive than when you think you're trying to meet a deadline. Because even the fatigue you feel when you get now home or you get to a place of resting, unakuwa more exhausted without throwing in mindfulness. Because if you practice with 2 minutes, eventually unaweza uka increase that it becomes no longer 2 minutes, can be 2 minutes in between work, can even be in that one moment just 10 minutes. But even with that increasing, it means by the time you're putting your head down to rest, there is deep quality sleep. It's not just unalala because you need to sleep and then tomorrow you have to get up.
Usiku imefika tulale.
So the body is asking, it's actually begging you to give it that break.
Okay.
Can that break come in the form of going for that now with Ramadan, because we are fasting?
Yes.
So you're not going to eat anything, fine. You even have more time. Can you put those breaks in between consciously?
Wow.
It doesn't have to be with food. You know, with mindfulness, we may say, okay, say at least tumeshafuturu. But then again, ukiona things like the date, for example, you can look at the date before we open your fast. Maybe we should have discussed this before we sat here when we were opening our fast. But, but then we can do that even tomorrow and the days to come. So when you take a date, before you eat it, iangalie to this date, how the genesis of this date, 1400 years ago, watu wakiikula for like years and years before. It's been the same, maybe may change with probably quality, but it's the same date tunaongelea. It has a seed inside. Can you imagine, from a seed, it was planted, became a tree. One tree is producing how many dates? Just from this one seed that I'm going to eat in Tatua.
Wow.
And then when I eat this one, how does it taste in my mouth? Like, is it, how sweet? Or actually kona flavor? I don't even know the nutrients in a whole, but I can feel myself salivating as I'm eating it.
And you can even feel how it is being absorbed. Like ikiteremka.
Correct.
Because you are in that moment.
That is being in that presence moment. That ikiteremka, that ukiswallow. All that ni mindfulness. You see, that umepeleka time ya kufuturu, but can you do these things when you're also fasting? Can it be that now I want to do any task, even in the house, for example, it's a house chore, you want to cook, sweep, clean, or you want to get out of the house, or even you've just woken up, umeamka maybe after you've taken a nap. So ukiamka, that moment unaamka, you're being present, like, I feel so rested. Now I'm getting up. Wacha nikae for a few minutes. I can feel my feet planted on the ground. I can feel my toes. Hata una press your toes, una wiggle, ikipress on the floor. So una feel yourself, you're grounded, in short. So unakuwa more centered, more, ni kama you are more, like if anything comes as a shocking news, you're not really shaken, not taken off guard.
You're in a position to respond to it.
Wow. Being more relaxed. Nice. Well, that's very insightful. And then maybe before we throw in some few points before taking a break, you had mentioned this aspect here. You see, this being in this state, how beneficial it is to us as individuals. What of the people around us? Like, is it going to, will you see the same impact? You see, the way you've just given us this energy, we feel some sort of way. And what about the people around us? Are we also going to translate the same? Or should we also be verbal about it? Ama tunafanya tu through action? And also, it being absent, is there also any repercussions?
That's a good question. You know, you want to attach yourself with people who are positively charged. You want to be at workplace with positive energy, so that the other person who may not be in that space because of life struggles will eventually get pulled by your energy. Not that you will be relieving entirely whatever it is that's going on, but it will make the place better. So even in the home, the others will get pulled by that presence. Kuna presence you carry with you with that calmness.
And I think we also appreciate it. Like when you are calm, you're like, wow, Farida is a calm person. Like when you get to speak to her, you also get to feel
I'd like to be around her the whole time.
People, you sit with them and like, oh my goodness, no, this is too much. I need some space. So if we are calm, especially during this holy month of Ramadan, it's like sort of just spreads as well.
True. True. And you can also teach it as you're asking, because if you're feeling there's an impact for you, it means the other people in the home are bound to feel the same impact. So it comes even in just the breathing exercises. There are children at home. It can be even for no children, adults. Teach them the breathing. Ask them to just breathe. You know, to now work on automated ways of behaviors. That's when you say you don't notice the day that before you know it, it's end of the year, you make a resolution, a year is ended, and you ask yourself, what happened? When did I really live? You don't take the step or the time to be mindful. You lose out on an entire month when you can actually give it just a boost of those 10 half an hours. And eventually you appreciate an entire day by virtue of spending those few minutes. So even teaching others in the home, you can, maybe breathing exercises, maybe being present in the moment. Children, especially who get labeled for being naughty, you know, you can send a child to a naughty corner and you say, sit there, no comment. You're punishing them, but in reality, maybe what you really want to do is teach them that mindfulness. Let's focus on your breathing. Umekuwa usikii, you're not listening, you're all over the place. We're
Wacha
telling you to
tukuweke
sit.
hapa sasa.
Kaa hapa, let's learn breathing. So they'll be doing it to mock in the same of making fun, because they are children at the end of the, but you're teaching them the correct breathing, because they'll be hyperventilating, like and breathe, like not that one. You're breathing slowly, long breaths out. The moment they keep practicing, you're actually calming their nerves. So it's a game for them, but it's a win in terms of calming their nerves.
And we get to win as a family.
Exactly.
Imagine a family where we are all relaxed, being mindful in our ibadahs, being mindful when we are taking iftar, suhoor, subhanallah. I think this is just an experience everyone should actually have.
True. Exactly.
So dear viewer, that is it. I hope you are feeling mindful. We are going on a short break, but when we come back, we'll be looking at what are those tips that you can actually practice yourself and your family to be more mindful. See you after the break. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala barakat. Welcome to the second segment of Iftar and Chill. And today's topic, we were talking about mindfulness in Ramadan. Before we went on a break, we were looking at this ideal family where we're doing ibadahs together and all these things together. But there are those ups and downs. How can we still practice mindfulness during these times? Farid.
Thank you for that question. It's a valid question, because the human nature is that we have ups and downs. And unfortunately, our automated way of thinking many times is more negative. So it may be from even negative thinking, it may be from the ups and downs of life. Consciously, we bring ourselves to being mindful. That's why it's conscious effort. So in terms of how, it means by being present, by sitting down, taking a breather. If I'm from work and I'm feeling still, from coming en route, unless I work in the same building and live in the same building. But if I had to travel, there's a lot that's happening on the way at work and all.
Yes.
In that space, can I sit down for a few minutes? I'm saying 2 minutes. Progressively it can be even up to 10. So in that state, can I then practice just being calm, breathing exercises. Breathing exercises can be long, deep breaths. You breathe in with the nose, and then you long breaths out with the mouth. So you're being intentional in your breathing. And even when you're breathing in, by being mindful is you're feeling yourself taking in the breath. So I'm breathing in, I can feel cool air going in through my nose.
Okay.
And when I'm exhaling, breathing out, I can feel the warm air getting out. So I'm focusing on that breath, the intensity, the sound it makes, how my lungs or my chest rises and falls. That's, breathing is very wide. I can choose just breathing, but focus on the quality of the breathing, how I'm breathing, and what am I hearing as I'm breathing. And different kinds of breathing. There's many of them, you can check them online. This is just one of those simple ones. Other ways would mean, can I practice checking 5 things around me in my environment, like grounding yourself, especially if it's something very stressful. Even the ones who work and feel that there's a workload and they can't get off and they just want to ground themselves because they've been all over, or they've been shouted at, or the workload is just too much and they want to take that breather. Then take 5 things you can observe, for example, with your eyes. You're using your senses. So 5 things I can see with my eyes. I'm sitting here, what 5 things can I see? So viewers who are watching this show at home, what 5 things can they see at home? Or if they're working in an office and watching this show, what 5 things can I see in my environment? So here I can see you, I'm looking at you, I can see your glasses, I can see you holding your mic, Khadija. I can see the lighting. I'm naming them as I'm going along. I picked 5 things. It doesn't have to be many. So taking it down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that's one other form of grounding yourself. 5 things I can see with my eyes, so senses. And say 4 things I can hear. So as I'm sitting here, I can hear the sound. There's a faint sound of an aeroplane as we're seated. I don't know if you can hear.
Yes.
But I'm imagining if the audience at home has got something else they can hear. It could be the sound of the other person speaking, someone cooking, a third or something. Whatever is happening in the ground. Pick those sounds. Could be birds. For example, if you did this in the morning, you notice even the birds you hear in the morning. In fact, I should be asking you. In the morning when you hear the birds chirping, if you've heard them, because if you can be so distracted, you don't even hear the birds in the morning. If you've heard the birds chirping and making those sounds, how many different versions of sounds did you hear from birds? Was it only one or was it more than one?
Usually in the morning, I think more than
Several.
3.
Yes. Yes.
If you pay attention, you hear as many as, depending with the area, of course. If somebody is staying far where there are no trees, maybe no birds, but you're bound to hear some sound.
Yes.
And the differences.
Those can be the difference. So even if you're saying bird sound, you can say, I can hear that sound of this bird, that other sound, you can name them as different. But name 4.
Okay.
And then think of 3 things you can probably touch. I can touch right now, I can feel the texture of the microphone, the clothes I'm wearing, if I'm wearing, even the warmth of my skin, I can feel, because there's a temperature human body we have. If it's somebody near you, can even touch and feel how they are. Or if it's the environment, the chair you're sitting on, feel that. So name 3 things. If it's 2 things, then what can I say, for example, taste?
Okay.
I can pick to go somewhere and just taste. Or if you want to make it smell, then look for something you can smell. Whether if you want to wear perfume and smell it, whether you want to look for a flower, go smell it. It doesn't even have to be, it can be an inanimate object, like even this cup.
Okay.
Just want to get a sense of what's in it. Not like the tea you've put inside, just get the smell of the tea. If it was tasting, and one thing for tasting, I can take something and just put in my mouth and feel the taste. Like the date, we're giving an example. How does it taste in my mouth? That's grounding yourself. You've picked 5 things to do, but you've actually grounded yourself. So 5 is just a general one. It works with children very well. It works with adults very well. So meaning if it's working, there's a way it can ground you. There's a program called Positive Intelligence. Like it's a sub-branch of positive psychology, but it's one in the same in terms of psychology. It teaches about repetitions. So you're being mindful in whatever it is you decide to wake up. Like they would say, if you wake up in the morning, pay attention to the warmth of the sun. Keep doing this every day in the morning. So you make it a habit until it becomes that pattern and you know.
Such that you can even include it in your daily life.
In your daily life.
When you're working,
that's the aim.
Interacting with the family.
That's the aim, correct.
Oh, wow.
It becomes the norm. Yes.
Well, I'm really loving how Farid is putting it out. Like, you don't need to strain so much. Just 2 minutes.
Correct.
3 minutes,
You don't need to
5 minutes.
overthink about this whole thing, mindfulness.
If you're overthinking, that means you are not meditating. You are not being mindful. You're beating yourself down. So where's your self-compassion?
Sometimes you want to be so perfect at it.
Correct.
Like kids are meditating right now. Please don't come.
I don't want any distractions. Just stay away from my space, please. But those are very good practical ways. Like it's just easy. Like I hope even the viewers at home, like you've just followed those 5 kwanza.
Yes.
Just what you hear, the 5 senses. That's very easy to do.
Correct.
That's very nice.
You don't need like so much.
Yeah.
Your hands, the clothes you're wearing, what you can see before you. SubhanAllah.
And by the way, that in a way brings up the aspect gratitude. Like the fact that you can just have these 5 senses and use them to ground yourself, to be present in the moment. Like you're appreciating the fact that you can actually hear the things around you. You can see, and you can differentiate all the sounds. You can see all the different colors around you, smell different, smell different smells, have different tastes, That's in a way, bring that sense of gratitude.
It's actually a form of gratitude as well.
Okay.
So in the concept and spirit of Ramadan, can you connect that now to the Creator? So
show
now
that connection with Allah.
that's spirituality now.
Yeah, okay.
So you're building that connection, you're grounding yourself, you're working on your own mental health, but you're also reconnecting with God. Ramadan becomes the best opportunity because you're given the time. You're in the space of being present because you're conscious it's Ramadan. It means Ramadan is 1 month out of 12 months. It's a practice month.
That Allah actually gives us that opportunity. Like,
Correct.
just be mindful. You're hungry right now, and we both know when you're hungry, you're a very
Angry man.
To be a likely angry person.
The saying says so.
So you're only thinking of the stomach. Hata ukiletewa anything, you're like, no, right now my focus is on that stomach.
Yes.
Take an example of that. When you're hungry, you're being mindful, you're feeling the pangs, of hunger. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually is giving us this opportunity. Subhanallah.
That's very insightful.
When when you're breaking the fast and then reciting that dua, you are in that moment. For once, you're like, God, I'm doing this for you. I want to achieve that closeness
to you, yes.
Of which you don't get it during this other months. Okay, yes, we'll say Bismillah, but I mean, umeshindo mekula the whole day, so it's nothing new.
Yeah.
So ni maji, mlikwaje shule, and blah. Like, We just
don't
want
take time
get
to
them
appreciate
these
that.
things.
Mashallah.
I think another thing that during Ramadan we can also learn about mindfulness is when we're doing this adhkars. When you're with your other people, with your friends, maybe with your family, and you're preparing iftar together, you want this to be the best iftar. Utaki watoto wako complain at oh mama didn't make us nice foods and the neighbor is making whatever.
Yes.
You put in your time. Even if you're at work, unajipanga, you're like, myself, I need to go home to get home by 5.
Yes.
Or I need to get home by 4 so that I can prepare and join the Jama Salah. This is all being mindful.
Correct.
And
Have
it's
you
also
guys had like other situations or instances that maybe you have practiced this mindfulness, especially during the month of Ramadan?
well, I can't compare with whatever it is that Farida has actually given us. I feel like I haven't done that much of mindfulness because this is just a lot, mashallah, which of course we'll have to put into practice. But ukisema ni ile mindfulness, we at least try to make that balance between maybe work and home and also those other extra things that you do on the side, maybe like your hobbies and all that. Kuna that kind of balance that you try to create. And then hata ndo nakaa nafikiria the way Farida amesema, like mindfulness, it doesn't have to be something that's giving you stress only. Like you can also be mindful, be in that, present in that, with something you actually love. Maybe I love doing art, maybe I love drawing, maybe I love going out in the nature, adventures and all that. You can take this mindfulness everywhere you go, with everything you do, whether it's eating, whether it's at work, whether you're stressed, whether you even receive that good news. Mindfulness is key, you know? Yeah.
Interesting. Farida, give us an instance where you were like, I'm actually practicing mindfulness during this holy month of Ramadan.
Yes.
I don't like peeling garlic.
Okay.
It's one of those tasks you feel the last thing you want to do is peel that garlic.
Yes.
Because I don't like it, I become mindful about the garlic. So it's good when you're aware and positive and charged, like in terms of happy spirit or energy, then you're more mindful because you're more aware and you're also anyway heightened by the happiness. When you're not in that state and you're feeling, garlic, and you start peeling it, being conscious is that mindfulness that I don't want to peel it, but I need to peel it because I need to use it for cooking. Even when I'm peeling it, I'm thinking, can you imagine the layers this garlic has? In fact, the smell is so strong. Like, how does this smell come from as something you've planted?
Mashallah, that's good. And
I think we both noticed that she doesn't like doing it.
Yeah.
But she's practicing mindfulness with it. So in whichever situation you're in, dear viewer, try to practice mindfulness. You'll actually like find it easy to do. You'll learn new things like haya. Kumbe galiki na kwanga na
the details.
Yeah, the details. And you get like relaxed. You enjoy that journey in as much as you don't like doing it.
Yes.
But something that would be interesting, especially in Ramadan, is focusing on thoughts. Because, the others you're practically and actively working towards.
Yes.
There's one that's very subtle that anyone and everybody can practice. I said earlier that we've got an automated way of default thinking, more leaning towards being more negative.
Yes.
Can we change our thinking to positive thinking? Like, for example, if I think negatively of myself, I'm like, I don't like peeling garlic. What's wrong with me? I'm beating myself down. I'm also being very negative. Can I switch that to a positive way? I'm on my own. No one even is paying attention. But I'm thinking now, even though I don't like peeling garlic, no harm in it. I'm only taking a few anyway. And I'm not going to be here from morning till night. It's only a matter of a few minutes. So I can do this. This is for the greater good or the nutrients I'm going to get from it. If I'm thinking from something that's not necessarily cooking, that I'm thinking, and what's wrong with me? And then I become so hard on myself. Can I reconstruct that? Can I change that into thinking, I'm trying my best. This is what I know. Can I work towards improving this? That's already mindfulness because you're being conscious in how you're thinking and now you're working towards turning it to a positive construct. That's mindfulness. Can it be done in this Ramadan? Previous Ramadans we've done and it's over, that's gone. Can this Ramadan be different in terms of changing our thinking patterns? Can we be more compassionate on ourselves? Even the Quran begins with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. The entire description of Allah is compassion. He's the most compassion. Can we be self-compassion? Can we practice that for some quality for our own self, care?
Most of the time, we're just doing it for other people. Like, hey, Farida, how are you? How was your day? How was work? But do we get to ask ourselves those questions?
Yeah.
Like, hi, Zuhra, how was your day? What did you find difficult? How did you go about it?
You
We
reflect.
don't usually do that.
We don't.
Most of the time, like, wacha tu niulizie watoto wangu mume wangu akwaje, niandalie chakula, and you've ticked all the boxes, and then like you go sleep and then you wake up another day.
Inakuwa kama routine because you see venye umesema we are working towards that because it gets me thinking because kuna this aspect ya baby steps like okay sawa tumesikia hii we've listened to Farida we've listened to this particular show we start practicing mindfulness immediately and then tunaona hii kitu hapana haiwork but kuna that step unaanza tu pole pole you don't have to rush into it you see the way that like I mentioned earlier that person okay sawa we've watched this show it's mindful okay let us put that as a to-do list mindfulness okay let us incorporate it into that okay it's not working what do we do next tunachana nayo you see like
we look for another
we move past it but the way umesema like it's something we should also be intentional and actually work towards it which is very important
and being mindful while still doing it so that we get the benefits.
Correct. Even when you say in the task and you're also putting being mindful, can I say I'm going to do whatever task you've written in your task list, but that name or the title, I'm going to, what was it you're going to do? I'm going to finish this program.
I'm editing a program.
So I'm editing this program with compassion. I'm going to work with compassion. I'm going to, so it is with, it's not independent.
So
it's
incorporated. Your mind
incorporated.
registers.
Correct.
We are working, but we're being compassionate
towards ourselves.
Yes.
Wow.
That's self-care.
That's nice. And also, okay, I know I had mentioned about this, but like creating a balance, you have family in place, we have work in place, you have your own thing in place, maybe you have a side hustle or something. We have also mothers there at home, you know, we have people from different walks of life, I'm a field and all that. How do we create this balance?
That's a good question. It makes me think about the sun.
The sun, okay.
See, the sun is fixated, it's stationary.
Yes.
And then Earth rotates around the sun. I'm using the mic to show it.
Okay.
So the Earth rotates, and that's where you get the day where the sun reflects, and this side will get the night because it doesn't get the sun. So it's unmoving.
Yes.
So the one rotating here is
The earth.
The sun is fixated, it's constant. Can we, in the name of balancing, if you have, because work, family, and spirituality, religion, Ramadan, all this, in terms of making it a balance, can we put Salah, because it comes with time structure, it comes with certain discipline, it comes with spirituality. Can Salah be the sun?
Okay.
So you know you have to pray. Yes. So use that because it has structured time. Can I pray on time? Praying on time has got some benefits, of course, by religion, how you get many thawabs, and it's also, we are responding, obeying Allah immediately. Like its own many gratitudes and benefits as well. But the concept I'm saying here is because if you learn to incorporate that prayer time with now it's prayer time, I'm going to focus after my prayer or before prayers, I'm getting ready for prayer. Family, can we pray together? At work, can you excuse me, I need to go do this. So my work will be between 8 and Salah time. I'm going to do a certain workload. I'm being conscious about what I'm going to do. I know I have prayer time to come. Prayer is your mindful aspect, but I'm also going to throw that mindfulness to balance. So I've got something that's giving me the balance, which becomes the Salah. You know, it may feel like I don't have time for prayer. Make the time. Yes, you don't have it because maybe sometimes work overlaps too much, deadlines.
Yes.
But that has to be constant. If it shifts, then you impact and affect every other aspect. So there's a lot of feeling of unfulfilled, feeling disturbances, feeling like a lot is missing out. If you manage to struggle and work with one, gently, slowly it becomes a culture, it becomes a norm.
It becomes easy.
Becomes easier with
more
time.
Productive.
Yes.
Okay.
And I mean, more maybe a happier person. We say that those ups and downs, but at least kuna zile 70%, you're more happy. Even if it's a sad thing, there's a way to go around it. You're more mindful when someone is telling you that negative news.
Okay.
So that you're not just waiting to respond.
Or react.
Yes, you're just listening to see how do we help this person? How do we respond to this?
Correct.
Wow.
Mashallah.
Wow,
that's much.
Interesting.
Mashallah.
And dear viewer, we hope that you have picked something from this. Try breathing, the breathing exercises. Try being mindful in these things that you do. And we hope that this holy month of Ramadan, it's going to be a different experience for you as well. Dear viewer, we hope that you pick something from this. Try practicing mindfulness. And nasiki tungumu, take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and you'll see how this works out for you. Even our Holy Prophet, in one of the many hadiths, anatuambia, 1 hour of meditation is more than some years of worship. So you can see how reflection has been given importance as well. Because if you're not mentally okay, if you're not mentally stable, your swala haitakuwa kamili. And we don't want just to do this for Riyah. Well, we hope that this has been a good episode for you, and the experience we can all adjust. It has been very good, helpful. And that is it from us. Keep it iftar and chill. Ma salam.
Masalam.